Hey folks, today we're going to be talking Sage. Sage is a healing class. If you hadn't guessed from the fact its style is healing, it's a continuation of the Bishop line, and it focuses, as you might expect, on healing and a little bit of the debuff clearing from your party. You might think that would mean Sage is a bad DPS option, but it's actually not. I'll get into why that is in a second, but yeah, let's just jump right in. The Intrinsic Skills Panacea 3, it is a big heal to all parties. That's all parties, so all rated members, not just your party, which is great most of the time. It can be a little bad for MD players, but I mean, there are very few situations where you'd want to not use Panacea if you need to use Panacea and there's an MD player. It's okay. Also, a little thing, if you're racing an MD player and you cast Panacea, do keep in mind it will lower their damage. Because it will heal your team and their team, and healing their team makes them do less damage because they have less enmity, so that is a thing to keep in mind. But yeah, it's a 3600 heal, and it's 1500 to all party members. You can increase the cap using Nirvana, the Sage / Champion weapon. That's 4200 heal, and then a 1750 heal to all other party members. It's also got a passive that's tied intrinsically with it, Ray of Hope, which boosts healing, healing cap, revives restore amount, and it cuts the cooldown on revive. But the thing that interacts with Panacea is increases your attack when Panacea 3 is cast. That can be pretty important because it makes your Sage hit actually quite hard on the turn you cast it. And in a racing situation, you can actually just use your heal on cooldown in order to boost your damage, and also boost your participation through the fact that you're healing other party members, other raid members, which does give you a little bit of participation. Timeless Teaching overrides skill seal debuffs, so a Sage can't be skill sealed. Since Sages usually lack clarity or something like clarity, like Peace of Mind, this can actually be very important, because if your whole team gets skill sealed, your Sage won't, and your Sage can rescue everybody else. So this is my usual Sage kit. This is the one I use for like racing or casual content, easy content rather. It might look a little bit weird if you know anything about Sage. Peace of Mind is a weird option. So at a glance, it looks fine, right? It removes one debuff from allies, and all allies gain shield. The shield's actually quite good. It's one of the reasons I use it, because I run stamina when I run Sage. And you might think removing one debuff from all allies is great, and it is. However, the reason why it's a bit of an odd choice is Clarity is an option. Clarity removes one debuff from all parties, not all allies. So this hits your whole raid, and often that's very... That and the raid healing is often why people take at least a couple Sages to hard content. Anyone can take Clarity, but Clarity fits the Sage style of play a lot better than other people's. I usually talk about Emp Skills first, but since we're here, I'll also mention a couple others. Revive is a really important skill sometimes for Sage, depending on what kind of content you're doing. Like particularly hard content, Revive is a good choice. And the other one, which I have slotted, whoops, is Double Trouble. Since Sage can use spears, which is typically what you do want to use as Sage, unless you're using Nirvana, you can actually buff all parties' multi-attack rates, and then give your Sage also a guaranteed triple with Double Trouble. So it's actually a nice offensive option for Sage in particular. So let's look at other EMP skills. We went over Peace of Mind. Veil is not a Sage-specific skill. It's actually a Bishop skill. So if you are looking for Veil and you don't know where it is, switch your class to Bishop, go unlock it through the Bishop menu, and then you can slot it for Sage. It's a little confusing. I wish they would like clean up the UI for that, but that's neither here nor there. Veil makes you immune to one debuff, which can be very, very, very important, because there are certain buffs. God, first I say boofs, and now I say buffs. It can be very important for certain bosses, because they're just debuffs that you do not want to get hit by. Like, Fenrir is a good example. Like, if Fenrir freezes you, you're probably going to lose your whole front line. Dispel Deluge is another one of those weird ones, like Peace of Mind. It removes a buff effect from all foes. There's another skill called just plain Dispel, which just removes a buff from the target foe, which is 99% of the time fine. The only reason you would use Dispel Deluge is, one, it's an EMP skill, so it gives you a little bit more flexibility in terms of slotting skills because of that 2 EMP to sub-skill limit, which is why I have it. And also certain fights like Luminera Impossible has 3 targets, and it lets you dispel all 3 of them, which can be useful, but in general it's not a super important skill. Last Sage skill, EMP skill rather, is Blessing 2. This is hot garbage. I haven't unlocked it because it's hot garbage. Is a fairly weak, actually, nuke to all enemies, and inflicts Holy Spike, which is a 5,000 damage per turn dot. Holy shit, 5,000 damage. That's oh man, so much. No, that's not so much. That's so little damage. It's such it's embarrassingly little damage. It's almost never relevant. If you want to use a nuke, just play a different class. Like, this is a really bad skill. The one saving grace for it is if you're using Hallowed Pilgrimage, which is the final evolution of Nirvana, the Sage Class Champion weapon, then you can actually lower the amount of damage your team takes from a target that has Holy Spike on them. I haven't tried that myself, so I can't talk too much about like whether or not that's super useful, but like if you have experience with Holy Spike, let me know. I'm kind of curious. So, it might seem like Sage's specific EMP skills are real bad, and you would not be wrong in thinking that. They are niche, but the thing with Sage is, one, Panacea 3 is big. Like, the heal is big. It's really, really big. It's pretty much the reason why Sage is an essential class for hard rage, just because it gives your team an extraordinary amount of HP recovery, and it gives the whole raid HP recovery, especially those DPS or those tanks. So that's really important. Also, Sage is kind of kitted out to fulfill a very specific role, which is to be the healer. So often they are carrying the burden of things like clarity or peace of mind or whatever, I guess those are big ones. Also revive. Dispel is usually a thing the Sage carries also. So like they're just the utility slot, and their kit fits really well with that. That isn't to say you couldn't take some of these skills on other classes. It's just Sage is already built to be a support class, so that's why it has that. The other reason Sage is really strong is because stamina is a thing. So this is my light team. It's Light Clarice, Sarnon. Ugh, kills me that I'm using Sarnon, but he's actually decent right now and I don't have Funf yet. Once I have Funf, Sarnon will go back to the bench probably. Io, who's essential for a stamina team, a light stamina team. My favorite Yandere lesbian, Granblue, and Sophia for the res. But yes, stamina. So I've talked briefly about stamina before. Stamina is the opposite of enmity. Means you do more damage as your HP is higher. So the reason why I said at the beginning Sage is actually a strong DPS class is because if you're running a stamina grid like I am, this grid isn't finished. It'll probably have like 3 Edens and like 3 Io stabs. Sorry, I'm a dirty whale, alright? I've accepted my whaleness. I have the extra Eden and the 3 extra Io stabs. I just need more Damascus. I always need Damascus. But anyway, so being able to keep your health high is absolutely essential for doing damage with a stamina team, and Sage is perfect for doing that. The other reason Sage is good, especially for light, or well, specifically for light, is Prayer of Sunrise on the Huanglong Katana. It boosts all allies' attacks upon using a healing skill, and it is stackable. This is like, I believe this is a 50% light damage boost to your whole team that you can maintain pretty much indefinitely as long as you're casting a heal spell. And when it says heal spell, all it means is a skill with a green border. So like this is, for example, another reason why Peace of Mind is a nice thing to take. Green Border counts as a heal. Stacks at Huanglong Katana. That's a lot of extra damage. So effectively, Sage, for light at least, has a huge damage boost in the form of the Huanglong Katana. And for any class that's running stamina, Sage is a significant damage boost because you're maintaining your stamina. So, so light, I think, is the obvious choice for Sage, just because there's a lot of synergy. Other options for Sage exist. The only Sage is one of those classes like Dark Fencer that it's less about team synergy and element synergy, and really about just what your group needs. So, like, if you don't have a strong light team and you have like a strong, I don't know, water team. Oh, water is actually another excellent Sage team because it's a stamina team. But yeah, let's take someone more neutral. Like if you were running Earth or Wind, even though those are traditionally enmity elements. Like, if that's your strongest team and your group needs a healer, then you would take Sage in that element. That's just how it works, right? If you need a healer and your best element is not a Sage-friendly one, you would still probably take Sage in that element. So Sage is just a very all-rounder useful class. I would say the worst... Probably the worst element to take Sage in is Dark, if you're running Enmity, which is most Dark players, just because Sage's game plan is completely counter to that. But then again, like I said, if you need a healer, and you're running with a group, and you're the only one who is available to take Sage, then you take Sage. It's just how it goes. Be a team player. So all that aside, how do I feel about Sage in terms of like priority of classes? And I feel very strongly that Sage and Spartan vie for #1 position in terms of priority when you get to 101 and can unlock the tier 4 classes. Now, like, I know some of you are thinking, but I want a Glorybringer, or I want a Elysian, or I want to do any X big damage class. That's fair, but in terms of opening doors for you, Sage and Spartan are going to be the two ones that do that the most, because the ability to either have a huge damage cut that you can control with Spartan, or the ability to heal damage for yourself and a group with Sage, is gonna actually allow you and your friends, or whoever you play with, or even alone, to do content that you're not able to do before you have those options. It's just the way it is. The if you play any MMO, DPS falls from the sky. It's usually the tank and the healer that are hard to find, and that's why Sage and Spartan are actually probably my top picks. And like I was saying, Sage and Spartan, they're actually really strong damage classes because they synergize so well with stamina and enmity. If you're trying to pick between Sage and Spartan, I would say this. If you have an enmity team that you like to play, like your Dark or, I guess, Wind, then Spartan might be a better bet to pick first. If you are running a lot of stamina teams, like Water or Light, then go with Sage first. That would be my pick. But those two, my two top recommendations. If you're running neither stamina or enmity, which is totally possible, because like those are usually a little bit specialized. Those are usually more like more pay kind of grids. Then between the two, just go with whatever your group needs. If you're completely solo, you're really twisting my arm to pick an answer, I would probably say Spartan is my #1 pick, and Sage is my #2 pick. Because, at the end of the day, preventing damage is more powerful than healing damage, just because there's some attacks that, like, if you don't damage cut them, you're not going to get a chance to heal, you're just dead. So that's why Spartan would be my #1 pick. So yeah, that is my review of Sage. it's time for work. So I guess I'm going to cut this one short. I don't know who I'm going to review next. If you have some requests, please post down below. Like, comment, subscribe really helps me out. Check out my Patreon, my Twitter really helps me out. And if you want to see more of me, that's a good way to get in contact with me. And yeah, until next time, I love all you guys and have a lot of fun.